Hi, everyone. This is Courtney. I am a veterinarian of over 15 years, and welcome to my YouTube channel of The Pets Digest. The Pets Digest actually started as a blog, and I summarize the articles here in really short mini videos. The Pets Digest is a blog, basically, it's a health and lifestyle blog for dogs and cats. Today, I want to speak with you about how to comfort a dog with pancreatitis. So, if you are an early reader of the Pets Digest, you will know that many of the topics surrounded pancreatitis and GI issues and other things like that because it started as a result of my dog Chi Chi on the right that had pancreatitis and my dog Cha Cha who had some irritable bowel issues as well. So that's kind of like what it started as, and it just morphed into a lifestyle blog. But today I'm going back to my roots and we're going to talk about pancreatitis a little bit. So there have been a lot of studies around pancreatitis in dogs. And this is one study that I pulled up and I can link it as well. Actually, I think I linked it in the blog article. So I'll link the blog article in the description box and you can just check out all of the research that's there. But there are a couple of main things that you're trying to be sure of and when you're managing acute or chronic actually pancreatitis in dogs. So you definitely want to replace any fluid lost because a lot of times those dogs will have some diarrhea, you may even have some vomiting, and they're losing a lot of fluids and electrolytes and things like that. You want to maintain their blood pressure, control any nausea. So they have anti vomiting drugs for dogs that they give, and then provide a lot of pain relief as well. So I'm just going to talk about some of the things that you can do at home when trying to comfort your dog that has pancreatitis, which is extremely critical and extremely painful for them. So if your dog actually does have chronic pancreatitis or has a bout of acute pancreatitis, the first thing you want to do is to make sure you at least speak with your vet. If it's chronic, if it's acute, you definitely want to get them to your vet. Ideally, in best case scenario, you will see your vet either way because it can lead to death and it can be extremely, extremely serious. Okay, so let's jump into 6 things that you can do to comfort your dog that has pancreatitis at home. Many of the things that you'll want to do, they have a lot to do with if your dog had acute versus chronic pancreatitis. If your dog has chronic pancreatitis, like my dog Chi Chi did, you probably will recognize the signs a lot easier that they're having a flare up and know what to do. If your dog just had a bout of acute pancreatitis, you may not know quite as much about it. So I would definitely say you want to research it a little bit. I do have a lot of blog articles about pancreatitis on my website. So if you just go and search for pancreatitis, a whole list of blog articles will come up and that will kind of help you out a little bit. At least a place to get you started. It's a lot of research based articles as well, like scientific articles. So I would definitely look into that. So one of the first things that you'll want to do is I always with my own dog, I would go NPO, which means nothing per Oz or nothing by mouth, basically, because sometimes dogs will have vomiting. And if they're vomiting, then they're not going to keep anything down anyway. So you after your pet comes from the hospital, you'll want to of course follow your vet's directions. Usually what they'll say is that you want to decrease the amount of food that you give them and feed them once they're able to eat and keep things down regularly. You want to feed them smaller, more frequent meals. So sometimes this looks like feeding them 4 to 6 times a day. Really, really small meals and making sure that they're keeping that down, that there's no vomiting, no diarrhea, things like that associated with um, with after they eat something. The second thing is that you want to make sure you feed them low fat foods. So once they start to eat again, you'll probably have them on a really, really bland diet per your vet's instructions, and you want to follow that to a T. You don't want to give them any table scraps, even if they are begging, pleading for any table scraps or treats or anything like that, because it can just start the whole cycle over again and make things a lot worse. So you want to make sure that you're feeding them a very, very bland diet. I know to them it may be torture, but at this point in time, it's really critical that they don't have anything too heavy on their stomach or too fatty on their stomachs. You also want to have some water nearby for them that's easily accessible. I don't I don't know about you, but when I'm sick, or not feeling well, or have like a stomach bug or something, I don't feel like moving a lot. I don't feel like getting out of the bed, doing a whole lot of stuff. So your dog, they can feel the same way. They may not feel like moving a whole lot. So making sure they have water and making sure that it's pretty close to them so they don't have to get up and walk a long way, um, is helpful. Plus, pancreatitis can be really, really painful. So you want to make sure they have that really accessible. And again, on the same point almost, if you can put puppy pads down so that if your dog has an accident, which they are prone to do, because a lot of times with pancreatitis, they'll have some diarrhea, and this may also come with some accidents. So if your dog is potty trained and they were potty trained using a puppy pad, they may just get up really quickly and go to the puppy pad. So wherever you have them situated, wherever they're comfortable sleeping, especially during the night, you may want to just surround it with puppy pads and make it easier on them. And of course, when they have an accident or two, don't make them feel bad about it. Don't, make it a big deal. Don't, chastise them. They probably can't help it. So, yeah, just being really gentle with them. Also, watch their stomachs. So, making sure not to pick them up by their stomachs if they're really small dogs, or put any undue pressure on their stomachs, because, like I said before, pancreatitis can be really painful. So, you want to make sure that you're not causing more pain. And the last thing I have for you guys is to make sure that you pamper them a lot. So make sure that they have somewhere to rest and retreat, and somewhere that's quiet. Make them up a nice little bed. If they feel like they don't want to be bothered, if you have other dogs in the house, make sure they have somewhere to go so that they don't have to be bothered if they don't want to. Move their food bowls closer to them, and just love on them a little bit more. And also, if you aren't able to use puppy pads, or if they have to go outside, you can try to carry them outside, to help them a little bit. So, I do have a couple more tips on my blog. So, I will post the blog article again in the description box, and there's a lot of research around this already. So, I'll post that. What I'll do too is post a link. I have a page on my blog that's all about pancreatitis and pets. So I will post that page, for you guys too if you want to check that out. I really do hope that you will come back next Friday at noon. I'll have another video for you. And I hope that you will like and ideally subscribe. I'll see you next week.